we can't sit there and say, you can't sit there and say that these are the people you can only choose from. But you can say, if you look at the example, it talks about how you have an option of using whoever you want to use, but here's a list of lenders that we've worked in the past that have been great. And then we always bump them up by saying, they close on time, they're great with communication, which are things you should be looking for. Those two big things, the on time and the communication, are big, huge differences. It makes a loan process go a lot smoother. So there's an example of that. List of lenders, you should have a list of lenders that you have. And there's 3 types of lenders that you're going to have out there. We talk about home one, right? What's another type of lender you might have that you have to deal with?
Land
lenders, right? You should have another email that talks about land lenders. And we've got a list of land lenders you need. If anyone out there needs names of land lenders, I've got some that have been really good. I think, Kim, we used to have a little spreadsheet too. I don't know.
We used to have a vendor list, and I think it's changed so many times. We kind of got old, Jeff, and some of our stuff kind of got stale. So we're having to update everything. We've changed, the contracts have changed 19 times in the last 5 years. And so our buyer's handbook it'll get you through and you won't feel like an idiot, but it's not perfect.
Right. And that's what we're working on getting it better in that. And of course, the third one then is mobile homes. And if you're showing someone they're interested in mobile homes, then you need to make sure that their lender, if they already have a lender, that their lender does mobile homes. And you can ask that, if your lender does mobile homes, because a lot of people think, well, it's a home loan and they should do it. Not all banks or lenders do mobile homes. So, once you got the pre-qualification letter is received, follow up with the buyer. It's the comfort of approval amount. They can get approved for a $500,000 house, but that doesn't mean that they want those kind of payments. So really, again, you're working for them. Ask them what they want. And then what we should do after we get the pre-qual letter, do you think we should call the lender?
I'm glad you said that, because I really wanted to jump back for a second and say, when it comes to getting with a lender, and just like Jeff said, obviously we have to be careful that we follow the guidelines, that we're not steering towards one particular lender. Although, like he said, I'm also going to make sure I mention, these folks over here, I get great service. My clients get treated well, blah, 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 because there's nothing more frustrating than working with some corporate lender out there, or a bank, or some place that's in Detroit, like Quicken Loans, and you get awful service. Your client gets awful service. So I always, caution my buyers to, if they've got their own person, hey, do your due diligence. Make sure that these are people that you feel like are going to respond to you, that they're going to call you back, they're going to return your email. They're not treating you like you're just a number, one of 50 people that they're dealing with, versus someone like some of the folks we deal with, like Brooks Kelly or Jennifer Salazar or others, that we know we can pick up that phone anytime and they're going to take good care of us, and that our customers are their customers. So those conversations about helping them make a good decision about whoever they choose, I think is very valuable, and makes your life easier too.
And shopping for mortgage loans is a nightmare for someone trying to understand it. Bruce brought up about Quicken Loans, Rocket Mortgage. Those two companies are famous for quoting a low interest rate, but they don't tell you you're buying them down by 2 points or 3 points. And so they don't understand that a $300,000 mortgage is going to cost them $9,000 to buy down that interest rate. And they don't tell you that. They make it sound good. So you're not comparing apples to apples. And I encourage people, if they're going to Rocket Mortgage Quick, and I say, hey, contact, like Bruce said, can you contact Brooks Kelly and see, say, hey, here, show them your spreadsheet. And I'll tell you what, a lot of them will give it to you. The Quicken Loans and Rocket Mortgage usually don't send out that information to them because they're afraid they're going to shop around and find out that they're getting screwed. So if you can get it, you can ask them that, or at least Brooks Kelly and and Jen and Tracy can actually guide them in the right direction. And it's the same thing when you go to a new home and that. But so this list of lenders, you know, and I think Johnny used to always say, hey, can I have one of my preferred lenders contact you? You're not steering them because you can use whoever you want, but they get them in that direction, so that way they're contacting them. Sometimes I'll blind copy my lender, just hey, here's someone to look at. So
that's super important, because I'm telling you, 8 times out of 10, if you just say, well, here's their number, you call them, they're busy like everybody else, they may never call them. So it's much better to have that lender contact them if it's possible to do that.
And the great lenders will actually send out an email saying, hey, when's a great time to talk to you? And again, Bruce kind of touched upon it too, is the lenders that are on this. I'm sorry, go ahead, Anna. Yep. I know sometimes the great lenders out there, they are available anytime. They'll talk to your clients night and weekends. And that's one thing about, banks. I always try to avoid some of the banks. I ask them, say, what if we find a house on Saturday and it's $10,000 more than what you're qualified for? Can we get a hold of that person that quick? So that's just we're just talking about mortgage. I haven't gotten into the mortgage types. What types of buyers are out there? We talked about the ones that have to finance, right? Then, of course, there's cash. What types of loans are out there? Does everyone know the loans that are out there, the ones that are available?
If you don't, are you in real estate?
We've got FHA, VA, USDA, conventional. You've got some that offer for people that don't have a lot of money for the FHA closing cost assistance, down payment. Those are generally the ones that I work with.
We've got I-10 loans for non-citizens of the U.S. They pay taxes in, so they have an I-10 number. Most of those are from out of country.
You've got options to do 15 or 20-year loans.
10, 15, 5, 10, yeah, whatever you want, 10, 15, 20, 30-year loans. I also have 203K, which is a FHA home improvement loan. They're a nightmare. I'll just tell you they're a nightmare, but they can be done. Then you got hard money loans, which is your investor loans that are rolling in for the rehab. And then they take it to a permanent finance at the end.
I'll tell you, having been in the process the last few months of building a house and dealing with a lender on this side, not having bought a house in 20 years, it's definitely made me appreciate more what my clients may be thinking about, and caused me to do a lot more investigating about the whole lending process and loans I never knew existed before, et cetera, trying to find the best deal for us. So it's an interesting, eye-opening experience.
Have they drawn blood yet?
And Bruce, wait till you go to move too. That's I tell my sellers it's one of the more stressful times when you have showing your house and moving or like that. So here's, I talked about calling a lender. Why do you want to call a lender? Why would you want to call a lender and find out about them?
To verify that they are pre-qualified, that they are approved.
Right.
Make sure that they do have the funds to close.
There you go. Or
to find out about the lender themselves and how attentive and communicative they're going to be, and if they're going to respond to you in a timely fashion. Excellent
point. And please let your buyer know that if you have problems getting a hold of their lender, that you have problems getting a hold of them. Okay. And if you have problems getting a hold of a lender, what do you think the selling agent is going to have?
I'm not afraid at all to tell a lender that I don't know that, hey, sometimes I'll get lenders that I can't do communications from. It's important to me to take care of my client, to know that I can have that communication. And I want to be upfront about that from the beginning, because if I can't get a hold of you, you don't ever respond to me, you're going to hear from me. So I like to establish that early on, that, hey, treat me right, we'll treat you right.
Excellent point. And Bruce, I think all of us that have been around for a while, we will verify that all the great lenders have regular communication to us. We know exactly where they're at in the process, and it's not just us, but the listing agent also knows what's going on. They might not know the details, but they know the process is going on. If there's a delay, if there's a grant program they're working on, and there's a delay on the grant program, whatever it might be, that communication means bunches for the smooth operation of it and smooth closing that. The other thing is, when you're talking to lenders, this is a big thing that we overlook. Lenders aren't required. There's no exact tax rate, real estate tax rate that they use. And so you could have one that says they're qualified for 350 and someone says they're only qualified for 300. And the person goes, well, I'm qualified for 350. I can go to them. Well, what's their tax rate they're using? And this is, again, we're going to bring up Quicken Loans and Rocket Mortgage. They use a very low tax rate, because that means they get approved for more. And also, when it comes time, if you were to take them into Heartland, which has a 3.3% tax rate, and they were using a 1.5% tax rate, they all of a sudden no longer become qualified for that $350,000 house. So it helps to ask what tax rate they're using. Now, I've had my own personal experience calling Rocket Mortgage, and they wouldn't tell me what tax rate, which didn't really make it. They said, give us, well, you're approving for a certain amount, what tax rate we're using. They won't tell you. And I get worried when lenders can't tell you what tax rate they're using. But great lenders will tell you the tax rate. And why do we want to know about tax rate? It can make a difference, a big difference on what they get approved for or not approved for. And that's why if you have great lenders available during the nights, weekends, you find this house, it's $10,000 more, you call up and, the lender was using 2.5%. You go, wow, I got one at 1.8%. Well, yeah, they can make that 10% up really easy, that $10,000 up really easily. Their payments will actually be less, even they're paying $10,000 more than what they're approved for. So that's another complexity of it. And don't be afraid to send that when you get to that point where they're interested in a house, to send that listing to your lender and say, hey, he forgot the payments on this house. And that'll help out. So once the pre-qualification, I just got through the pre-qualification letters received, follow up with the buyer's comfort of the amount, contact lender regarding the approval, tax rates, and insurance amount too that they're using, because you want to be able to compare apples to apples. And then start your Netris MLS search for homes to consider. You want to understand the buyer's needs, such as home size, bedrooms, bath, shop, pool. They want mobile home is okay. A 2-story house is okay. Master bedroom upstairs, downstairs. What is they're looking for in a home? The more notes you get on it, the better off you are in finding the right home before going out and looking. And then is financing applicable to the homes qualified? FHA, VA, USDA, or conventional. Does anyone know if Terrell is in USDA territory?
City limits is not.
Right. So USDA in the city limits of Terrell or not. What about Forney? Forney's closer to Dallas. Is that USDA territory?
It was.
It still is, as of last couple weeks ago, still part of USDA territory. So you can't just go by the town and where it's located at, because it blows your mind to know that the city of Terrell is not in USDA territory, but the city of Forney is. So there is actually a USDA map that tells you who's in USDA territory or not. And talk to your lender. And I think we need to have probably a lender come in and talk about the different types of loans that are available, and then get more into detail. I know USDA, they take everyone's income that's in the house that's going to be living there. Conventional could be right to an individual person. That FHA can be an individual person. So there's certain things that they need to understand that. Now, full underwriting approval is always preferred if the clients have time to wait on this process. Okay. So we go out and we look for some homes and that'll be a different class. We talk about how to use the Netris and how to look for homes, how to look for the criteria, how to search. It's just a whole classroom all by itself. So once you find that home, what do? You call who? Usually, who do you call? Who do you have to call set up an appointment? Showing time, right?
Or the agent, just to see if they are already working any offers.
Especially today's market, well, it's not so much today's market now, last week's market, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. Yeah, it doesn't hurt to call and ask them if they're working. And I'll tell you, if you guys have a listing and you're working a contract, you get close to it, don't make it a secret. Okay. Let the people know, because as you know, one of the worst things to do is you go out, you go show a home, and as you got it on your list of homes to show, and all of a sudden you find out that they accepted an offer. If you guys have a listing and you got showing set up, you shouldn't be accepting offers unless it's a really strong offer. I've even told agents, well, I had a cash buyer from California. I was going to pay for the house $30,000 over, but that's okay. Hope your offer is good. Just to make them think about why you accepting an offer when you have other showings going on. So call showing time, or call the agent. Call the agent, find out if they're working. Everyone should already have a login and a password. You can also call them to get online showing. You can go online to get showings. And then email, or you have to call, you can email the agent too. Email the agent, text the agent. Sometimes the agent asks for your license number, which doesn't make sense because your business card has your license number. You can find license number for any agent you want to out there. And then pre-plan your route to utilize gas and time. And again, this will be something we talk about when you're looking at listings, and we'll go through when we're looking at the MLS and looking at Netris. Is everyone aware that there's a directions on your Netris? You can actually plan out what order you go see homes, and it tells you the time from one to the next and everything like that. That's something we'll go through. It really helps out as far as planning. I start at 11. When's my next one should be at? How much time do you guys get for showings? Approximately how many?
30 minutes for me.
I do an
30
hour.
minutes.
I do an hour when I have multiples. That way, if I'm running behind, I can play catch up.
Well, it's according to how far you're traveling to between showings. So, if you're in the same little town, there's no reason you can't do 2 showings in an hour at least.
So what I'm asking is, how many minutes do you get for that person to be at that house on average?
20 minutes max.
Yeah. Which
Jeff,
is
I have an appointment I have to go to, but I wanted to introduce, I see her over there putting her kitchen up and cleaning her dishes. Introduce Casey Coker. She lives in Edgewood and she'll be joining us soon. And I asked her to join in on the meeting this morning. So good
Welcome,
morning,
Casey.
Hey, Casey.
You're on mute. On the bottom left, there's a little red button that says unmute. You see it? Bottom left. There you go. Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
We're delighted to have you with us.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm excited.
We're excited to have you. So you want to put that back on mute, or everything will be, you'll hear everything.
Trying to say hi. My dog keeps barking.
Well, it's my kids, so.
Well, I wanted to introduce her. I have a doctor appointment I have to go to, but I wanted to say welcome, and we look forward to working with you. So,
Well, thank you. Me too.
you take care.
Okay.
Okay. So we're kind of wrapping. We're going to wrap it up right here in the as far as during the showing, you plan out your route and that, and there'll be a different class as far as how to plan out the route when you're looking up stuff, when you're looking actually on hands-on laptops, and they can actually see what's going on. During or after the showing, you should always ask for people what they liked or disliked about the home to help narrow down your search. Understand your buyer's must-haves versus their would like to have, and don't be afraid to ask them what is you can do without. Here's your list of things you like. Now, what are the things that you can do without? And you'll find out that usually at the beginning, they have a long list. And if the more they keep on looking, there's some things that they really didn't need to have, that they're more willing to do it.
I want to just add to that, if I could, Jeff. That's really important because you'll find, especially when you're new at this, there ain't nothing more awkward than walking into a house with buyers and you're just kind of like, and they're looking around and you're wondering, what are they thinking about? And do I look like I'm just a bump on a log here that's just opening the door for them and letting them in? Or am I a proactive partner with them? And they know that I'm thinking about their wants and needs. Because when I first got into this, I just kind of, all right, here it is. Take a look, call me if you need something. So I think that question you're talking about is really valuable, and it shows them that you're really interested in making them happy.
And some suggestions is one thing that George does is he carries around a notepad, and it's got the listing and it's got their name written on there, so that way you remember their name when you get there, right? And so then what he does is, as you're walking through, you can make notes of what they like or don't like about it on that notepad as you're talking to them, and what is it you like, what is it you don't like. If you could change something, what would you change? So that way you understand it, but make those notes, and then you can go back to your CMA and punch it in there, what your notes are. But understand what they're looking for, so that way it helps you narrow it down more. What is it like? And then it also helps you when you go to find a home, if they like arches on their doorways and stuff like that, you can say, hey, check out the arch on this doorway, or hey, check out how big this living room is, or check out how big the master bedroom is, or look at this master bath. It's got the jacuzzi tub you're looking for. You can actually show you're more specific, so that way it shows that you're actually listening to them versus just going out. And I've always said, we talk about, and you'll see more and more, you see more open houses are coming up, right? I mean, they were non-existent for a while, right? Because everyone's getting multiple offers and don't need to have a open house. Now all of a sudden, open houses are happening all over the place. If you have the time, especially if you're a new agent, go to an open house and just walk around and observe how other agents work with their clients or don't work with their clients. And I encourage, I said, if I ever went to out of state, if I was looking at for a home, say in Colorado, I would go and I'd call 5 agents and go to the same home 5 different times. Only because I want to see how each agent points out stuff in that house and how knowledgeable they are. You'll see this at an open house too. You'll see the agent that walks around with a clipboard up against their chest, and they're just walking around talking about what a beautiful house this is. This is perfect for Johnny's room and all they do is everything's positive. They're not talking about that big old crack that's on the outside. They're ignoring the things that they should be pointing out to the customer too, because if they were buying that house, they would be looking at that. And then you also see the agent that's walking around and making notes in that, and that's the kind of agent we want to be. And you see the agents walking around and not only making notes, but also pointing things out. Hey, look I just want to show you this big crack that's right here. I don't want you to miss it. That's the agent you want to be. You want to be that agent that's paying attention to your clients and also to the house and showing, if this is my house, would I want to buy this house, or are there some concerns I have? And trust me, there's going to be houses you're going to sell. You go, I would never buy that house, but they love it. It's better than what they had. And that's okay. As long as they love it, that's okay. As long as you did your due diligence of pointing out, hey, look, there's this big crack here, whatever it might be, that helps you out, okay? And that's what you want to be when you're out showing a home. Then when you find the perfect home, it's time to write a contract, and that's probably the perfect time to end this session of training.
That's so wonderful, Jeff. That was, thank you so much. I wanted to add too, if anybody on their phone, especially new people, and if you haven't downloaded it yet, there's a showing time app. There we go, right there in the Play Store. If in the old days we didn't have the app, and you just had to print everything, right? And use the Maps Go for directions. And now, if you don't already have that on your phone, you want it. It's awesome. So, yeah.
Good point. Great point.
Does anybody have any questions for Jeff? This has been terrific information.
I do.
Anna?
So, Jeff, you were saying something about on the MLS, you can map out your places. Are you going to go more into that? Because I did not know that was a thing.
Yes, I will. I will go over that when we're in classroom training, so you can actually see it. And what I really like to do when you're plotting stuff out and looking at homes and everything like that, I like to have when we do this training, it'll be at the office. Everyone have their laptop there, so that way you get actual hands-on with your own laptop.
Okay.
You can actually see it. I think if you go in there, if you plot out like 4 or 5 homes, you'll see at the bottom it says directions. I'll do a screenshot for you, Anna, just to start it off for you. But it'll be.
I've been using Google Maps, but it sounds like that way would be a lot easier.
Oh no, it's on Netris. And I'll do a screenshot.
Too.
Yeah, it's on showing time too. Yeah. You plot them all out in the order that you want them. And showing time does the same thing. They tell you the distance from one to the other, and you can move them
And
around.
how much time.
And actually with showing time too, you can actually add, you get the ones that aren't on MLS. Actually, showing time's done better now. They add homes that are on MLS, but they're not through showing time. You can actually add those on there now. And if there's for sale by owner, you can actually add an address too. You can actually add a stop on there if you want. The big thing, like Kim said, is the 20 minutes. But as Melissa said, is you want to put some, and we'll get more into this when we talk about direction. You want to put some fluff in there. So you might have one scheduled from 11 to 12, the other one scheduled from 11:30 to 12:30.
Yeah.
And you might be all done by 11:30. You might be at that other one at 11:30 and you're done, depending upon travel time and that. But the other thing, and we'll talk more about this when we talk about directions. The way I do it is I always put my vacant homes near the end if I can. If I can schedule it to where the vacant homes are at the end or near the end, and if they're close, that way if I'm ahead of schedule, I can hit the vacant home. If I'm behind schedule, I'm okay because it's vacant. It's just I don't like putting vacant homes at the very beginning because you can be in and out sometimes on a vacant home, but it gives you flexibility with that vacant home at the end. So, but we can talk about more of that when we get into directions and showing that.
Well, man, this was really good for me. So often I do a lot more listings than buyers. Kind of hope that changes here pretty quick. So wonderful information, Jeff. Thank you for a great job. And Jeff will be back with us on Tuesday, August the 2nd for our next training. Just a quick thought about training. We had gotten back to meeting in person at least twice a month with one Zoom. Recently, Sharon and Kim and I were talking about, we have had a few more folks getting COVID. There's been flu going around. And so we decided, just for July, let's hold off, let's evaluate. So we'll talk some more about next month. We definitely want to keep trying to do at least a once a month night training. The last one was, I think, went really well with Terry Anderson, with our commercial realtor friend with 50 years of experience. And so we're going to keep trying to make training relative with new training, new information coming, as well as good refreshers like we got from Jeff today. So again, great job, Jeff. Thank you. Any questions from anybody before we take off, or any comments or an issue you're having with a deal? All right, Sharon, you got anything before we go?
Nope, that was awesome. Yeah, y'all just reach out if you need anything.
All right, everybody have a great day. And like Johnny always said, don't be a secret agent.
That's right.
God bless y'all.
Thank you, Jeff.